There was once a girl who feared water more than anything. She would stand by the edge of the pool, toes curled over the tiles, her heart racing like a wild drum. The laughter of children echoed around her, splashing, diving, floating with ease, but to her, it all sounded distant, unreachable, like a song she couldn't sing. She didn't know exactly when the fear began. Maybe it was the time she slipped in the shallow end and choked on a mouthful of water, the sting in her nose making her cry. Or maybe it was the stories she heard, the ones where things went wrong. Whatever the reason, the fear stayed. It lived in her chest and tightened around her lungs whenever she got too close. "I can't do it," she would whisper to herself. "I'm just not made for this." She tried to hide her fear behind polite smiles. When friends asked her to join them, she would shake her head, blaming a stomachache or pretending she forgot her swimsuit. No one saw the silent war inside her, the tug of longing and the grip of fear. Each summer, the pool became a reminder. Not of joy, but of failure. Of the things she hadn't conquered. And slowly, the fear began to shape her identity. She wasn't the brave one or the strong one. She was the girl who watched. Who stood on the sidelines. But deep inside, there was a flicker. A tiny part of her wondered what it would feel like to let go, to float, to move freely through the water like she belonged there. She imagined the cool waves against her skin, the lightness of floating, the pride of learning something new. Still, the fear whispered louder, "You'll sink. You'll panic. You'll fail." And so, she stayed dry. But the dream stayed, too. Hidden behind doubt, buried under what-ifs, but never gone. Because even in the most fearful hearts, courage waits. And this girl, though she didn't know it yet, was about to take the first step toward becoming something she never thought possible. It happened on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. The sun was bright, casting reflections that danced across the pool's surface. The girl stood next to her mother, watching kids dive in one by one. She wasn't planning to swim. She had promised herself she wouldn't. But then something shifted. Her mom turned to her and said gently, "Why don't you just sit by the water today? Just dip your toes in." That seemed harmless enough. So she agreed. She took off her shoes, rolled up her pants, and sat at the pool's edge. The moment her feet touched the water, a chill ran up her spine. Her heart skipped, but she didn't pull back. Not this time. The water rippled around her toes. It didn't hurt. It wasn't scary. It just was. And then, before she could change her mind, she slid a little closer. Her legs dangled in the shallow end, and the water reached her knees. She gripped the edge tightly. Her breathing was fast but steady. A lifeguard noticed her. "First time?" he asked with a smile. She nodded. "You're doing great." Those 3 words settled into her like warm sunlight. She wasn't swimming yet. She wasn't even close. But she was here. In the water. And that was something. Later that night, as she lay in bed, she remembered the feeling. Not the fear, but the moment she stayed. The moment she didn't run. Maybe tomorrow she would try to go a little deeper. It wasn't about diving in all at once. It was about the first step. And she had taken it. The next few days were filled with splashes, mistakes, and tears. She came to the pool each morning, determined to learn. Her instructor, a kind woman with a calm voice, guided her gently. "Kick your legs. Keep your head up. Breathe slowly." But her body didn't listen. Her legs felt like anchors. Her arms flailed. She couldn't float. Each time she tried to paddle, she would panic, swallowing water and rushing back to the edge, coughing and blinking back tears. "I'm not good at this," she muttered after her 3rd attempt to float had failed. "I'll never get it." Her coach knelt beside her. No one is good at something when they first start. This is how we learn, by failing forward. The girl didn't want to fail forward. She wanted to glide, like the others. She wanted it to be easy. But it wasn't. One afternoon, after a particularly rough lesson, she sat on the bench, towel wrapped tightly around her shoulders. She watched the other kids swim laps. They made it look so natural. Tears welled up in her eyes. What if I'm not made for this? What if I never learn? But then she remembered that moment from the first day, the lifeguard's smile, the feeling of her toes in the water, the way it hadn't been as scary as she thought. That was real, too. She wiped her eyes and whispered to herself, I didn't come this far just to quit. The next day, she came back. And the next. And the next. She struggled. She swallowed water. She kicked wrong. She floated for 2 seconds and sank again. But she also lasted 5 seconds longer than the day before. Progress came, not with applause, but with quiet perseverance. It came in inches, not miles. And the girl who once feared the water was now learning how to fight through it.